do that as well. We're live. Oliver James, the legend.
James Brown, how are you?
The one and only. I'm really well. How are you?
Yeah, we're all good up here, up in Tier 3 in Manchester.
So what does Tier 3 mean then to you?
It just means, Manchester area has been in one of these mini lockdowns for quite a while now. I think about 100 days. So we've not changed anything, to be honest. We're just carrying on with the policies and procedures we put in place when we came back in May. You know, the normal wearing masks, wiping handles down, and stuff like that. And obviously, we do the Matterport 3D tour, so we're doing a lot of online viewings prior to doing the actual viewings. And that's just helping sort of get some extra attention to the properties.
Well, I saw you did your lovely video. Was it yesterday? Explaining to everybody Tier 3, and then in the background you had something on as well, which I thought was great. So,
yeah, I mean, in the background of the video?
Yeah, you had Greg's and Costa, and you were on some form of industrial park.
So as the community agent, we've got a mural on the back on one of our main walls, instead of putting a load of properties up, which no one's really interested in anymore, because people don't come in and stare at walls anymore. We got a local artist to paint a mural of the main road and all the main stops and buildings in the area that people know, the landmark buildings, and we've got a nice mural so people actually stare in the window, go up in at that instead of random pictures on the wall. So yeah, that's what that is. But yeah, just a part of involving ourselves within the community, which is something, as you know, I'm quite keen on doing, really.
So we are joined by, let's welcome, the wise one, your favourite estate agent in Walton-upon-Thames and Surrey has joined us, the wise one. Claire Ellis, thanks very much for joining us as well. So please, Oliver James needs some loving today. He needs loads of hearts. He needs loads of sharing. He needs loads of kisses, don't you?
Yeah, well, I've got to save up for my new wig because I've lost my hair recently. So
again.
So yeah, press share now. That'll be good. Thank you.
Perfect. So Oliver, thanks very much for coming on today. Really appreciate it.
It's the least I could do for you.
Oh, you're a gentleman. So share with us your story. How did you become an estate agent?
Well, quite randomly, actually. I was around about 20 years old, 21 years old. I was selling bath lifts to elderly people to help them get in and out the bath and struggling to get in. And that business
would be like a Jose Mourinho story.
Well, we can do a Jose Mourinho story as well. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, no, I had a normal sales job, and the business I was working for, they were selling out to a German firm. So one of my friends was actually an estate agent at the time, and he says, "Well, if you can sell bath lifts to old people at your age, then I'm sure you can sell some houses. So come and work for me." So I went to work for him for about 4 or 5 years.
What was the name of the agency?
Mark Warren Estate Agents, that was called.
Yeah.
Up in an area of Manchester near Middleton, and it basically just gave me the foothold of a career, basically, and I saw where I could do things and improve on things, and where I could go after that. So if I look back to how I was an estate agent back then and how I am now, it's just black and white, just totally different. We didn't do any prospecting. We didn't look after the customers. Obviously, back then there wasn't any Rightmove as well. So I used to go and do valuations, and our sales point was showing a 4-page brochure. That was it. Why should you go with us? Because we do a colour 4-page brochure. So it's amazing how things have changed. But yeah, we did that for 4 or 5 years. Wasn't treated the best by him. I was overworked, underpaid. So I learned a lot of lessons of how to teach your staff and treat your staff from him, and sort of thought about how I would want to do things if I ever became a boss. And you know, learned a lot by that of how you know, treat people how you want to be treated, basically, to get the best out of them. Because I mean, it got to the point just before I left, we had obviously our Christmas do, where he wasn't even invited. So it was a strange place to work in. strange environment. After that, I started another business just as the market crashed in 2006. That was called Pick My Pad. And I had to adjust quite quickly and become a letting agent because the market had crashed so badly in our area. I had to adjust, it was sink or swim. So I did that for about 10 years or so. And I sold that about 2.5, 3 years ago. And that's when I started up my new project, which was called Oliver James, after myself, Oliver James Estate Agents. So I think that's something you wanted to discuss with me in a bit more detail, and how after 2.5 years we're sort of market leaders in the area and doing really well.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. You've done it. It's been brilliant to watch your journey and what you've achieved in the last coming up to 3 years now. It's absolutely phenomenal. So Andy Overman says you look very handsome today.
Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, it's nice to see he's copied my hairstyle as well.
Which is great. So people watching this now, or whether they're watching it on replay, you took a bold step of going into an area. How did you decide that was the area that you were going to go into? Why that, to begin with?
I think change is good, first of all, and I quite like being spontaneous, and I'm a risk taker. I've always been a risk taker. And obviously there's probably a lot of estate agents out there that may watch this that are working for someone, or talking of Andrew Overman, who, are always scared to make those final steps. It's a big thing, especially when you've got a family to support, a mortgage to pay. But I sort of revel when I get down to the nitty gritty of starting afresh and being able to, it was like I had 20 years of experience and I was able to start from the beginning, from step 8 all over again, but implement everything that I'd learned over the previous 20 years. So I thoroughly enjoy starting off the new business. So why the area? Well, I mean, basically there's a couple of agents in the area that were more old fashioned. I consider myself the next generation of estate agents, the way we do things, very digitally, very social media, very video based. And basically, the one I went to see and where I am now was actually only about 4th or 5th on my list, because it was about 15-20 minutes journey from my house through a lot of traffic. And I thought there's nearer areas that I could do. And I went to have a look at the building that we're in and I own. And the estate agent, who was the market leader at the time, he booked me in. He only knew my name was Oliver. He didn't take my address. He didn't take my email address. He didn't take my mobile number. He didn't ask what I was buying it for. There was just no qualification at all. And this was the market leader at that time. I turned up at the property. He was late. He stood outside and said, go and have a look around. No introduction, didn't get to know me. There was no banter or anything like that. Had a few questions and he was unable to answer all of them. I then had to chase him to put an offer in. And before I actually put the offer in, when I left the building, he said to me, are you interested? I go, yeah, maybe. For the right price. He says, well, I'll get the price down for you. And I just took a step back and I said to him, who are you working for? Me. So he goes, no, I just know the owner will sell it for a bit cheaper. And I went home that night and I said to my wife, hello, Laura. I said to my wife, we're going to open up in Earlham and Caddysaid in M44 in Manchester and Salford, because that was it. That was sort of the icing on the cake. And it was extremely painstaking sales progression. I had to take over it myself because there was just zero sales progression from the estate agent. And I just thought, if that's how he's doing things, then that is something that I need to, that's where I need to, it sort of all opened up for me, basically. So it was great. The opportunity just opened, it opens itself up in front of me, really, basically. So that's why.
Fantastic. So one of the things that you did,
social media, or they've never been on video before, or they just didn't have Facebook or anything like that, I gave them their opportunity to get the word out there. And I obviously did all the editing and everything like that. So I just laid it on a plate for people. And that was just a great way to get to know businesses, get to know local people, and get word of mouth out there. And before we know it, I did a video with somebody promoting their cause, and it got 30 to 40 shares every time. So before I knew it, everyone knew Oliver James just because of that. And that was the community group. So that's how that came around. So, and it's still going very strong. We've got, I think, 3,500 followers on that. So we still do it. It's not there to advertise properties. That's not what it's there for. That's my Facebook page. You have to keep it separate.
Yeah. So people that are watching this now, you know, and they're thinking about, how do I start a Love OB group? How do I start a Love M44 Facebook group? You know, how do you just go about doing it? What advice can you give them?
Well, it's as simple as obviously it takes 10 seconds to start a group on Facebook. Most people watching this will be efficient enough to do that. And just put a message out there. I mean, there's a lot of there's a green belt where we are, and there's a lot of contentious issues with building on it, which I even as an estate agent against, and that's something that I put out there even as an estate agent, and people use that to their advantage. Of even the local estate agent doesn't want to be built on green belt, and that's from a personal perspective, not a business perspective. There's plenty of houses in our area. There's plenty of brown belt land. So I'm getting off the point. The question is, how would you start it? Well, I'd put a stand at a local landmark and just go, basically, this is our area. I do a quick video about the area. And there's plenty of other community groups out there, I'm sure, in every area. Share it. Invite people. Tag them. And before you know it, you've got things like that. You know, it's coming up to Halloween. Have you done a pumpkin colouring competition? I'm sure a lot of people have done it on their Facebook page, but do it as part of a community, not for your estate agency. You know, there's hundreds of ideas. You know, some are being discussed this week by other estate agents on this format of the learning show that you do. There's plenty you can do, but just get a video out there and just get it shared. It's as simple as that. It's simple as that. There's no excuse to do it. People can follow my page and copy me. It's fine, as long as you're not up against me.
Oh my word, look at this. We're joined by royalty today. Lisa Curran, thanks very much for watching us. Some fella called David Mintz, Neil Giller, and Paul Rolfe. So thank you, gents, for all watching us. Give Oliver some love. He wants some likes and some shares. He talks a good game. That's nice, but he does say you're very good looking. I don't know whether he's talking about you or me. Who knows?
I think if it's David Mintz, he's probably talking about David Mintz. So.
Okay. Hi, Lisa. Thanks very much for joining us. How's Chester at the moment? So M44 working very, very well for you. 3,500 members, which is absolutely phenomenal. Brilliant. So again, what sort of competitions, giveaways did you do? I know obviously you've got some boards there that you're doing, which are a lot of fun. It makes you different.
I'll tell you one competition we're doing at the moment. So we have different boards, different seasonal boards for different time of years. So currently we have a Halloween board. So there we go. Yeah. So we've done a couple of community-based things with that. So obviously we've changed all our for sale boards to these. There's not many of them at the moment because there's so many sold. As everyone knows, it's very busy at the moment. So basically what we're doing is a bit of exposure. So for the business as well. So we're asking people to go and find one, take a selfie and post it on their newsfeed and tag me or check into my business. And basically we'll, at the end of the month on Halloween, we're going to draw one person out of a hat. And they'll win an Amazon Echo. It's not an expensive gift, but it's something people like and want. And it's getting my brand out there on their newsfeed as well as helping the community. So we're doing a theme. We teamed up with about 4 or 5 schools in the area as a separate thing where we're putting pumpkins in all the windows because, again, trick-or-treating is not really going to be happening this year. I'm sure there's going to be people that do it, but there's a lot of people that are not keen to do it. So we're doing something called Find the Pumpkins, hashtag Find the Pumpkins. So basically, we distributed the same poster to a load of local schools. Over 1,500 pieces of paper went out. I delivered them, and they were coloured in school. And hopefully, we're seeing them up and around the area now. And basically, people with the children can go on a Halloween pumpkin hunt. So they can go and have a look for our boards, or they can look for these pumpkins in people's window, and they can just go on a hunt rather than trick or treating this year. So it gets kids out and about and gives them an activity to do. Obviously, half term's coming up, so we're hoping that springs into action more than it is now. But there's dozens and dozens of these things driving around the area. I see them in windows everywhere, which is great. And there's no Oliver James on that. it's just doing something for the community, you know, and that's the mindset you have to go in with it. You can't be doing it to get properties. If that happens, that's a bonus, basically.
Okay, love that. That's absolutely fantastic.
Well,
Sarah, thanks very much for joining us. What else you got there?
So that's we do an Easter board.
Yeah.
And we do a couple of Christmas boards. Christmas is obviously a bigger time, so we have a for sale Christmas board and a sold Christmas board as well. Bit of marketing.
It is great. So Sarah says, what a lovely idea of a pumpkin hunt is, especially given the current need to get kids out and about in the fresh air. Lovely.
I mean, if we go into some kind of lockdown as well, circuit breaker or anything like that, then obviously that's something that will kick in big time as well. And it's just preparing for that now, should in the next 3 to 4 weeks that happen.
Okay. Now, from memory, you also did something, I'm going to get this totally wrong, I can't remember what it's called, but it had something to do with stones or pebbles.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes. So we did Oliver James Rocks, which had like a nice meaning to it as well. So yeah, back in the summer, obviously there was a lot of pebble hunting going on. It was a thing up and down the country. A lot of areas did it. Again, it wasn't my idea. So basically, there was a local person who was doing like pebble art, and we sort of brought out Oliver James rocks. So we basically got the local community to draw on some rocks, Oliver James or OJ, our brand, and we hid them around the area. And basically, if you went on your pebble hunt and found the rock with Oliver James on, you just brought it into my office when you were allowed to come into people's offices. And we had gifts ready to give out to the children. So people used to just come in, bring the rock. So we got turned around, they brought it back in, we gave them a gift, and we put the rock back out. And we did probably over 150 prizes on them. Just activity books, things like that, you know, not expensive thing to do. But it just got us involved with the community again, which is
so what you at the start of the year, it sounds like you've got a marketing calendar there that you look at, and you're very professional and you know what you're going to do and very organized and get it all done. So it sounds like there's as
what gets scheduled gets done, Stephen,
Pardon?
Stephen. What gets scheduled gets done.
That's a good saying. That, where'd you get that from?
My mentor, the man that taught me how to do things, and I wouldn't be in the position I am now if it wasn't for him. A very good-looking fella down in London called Stephen J. Brown. Not sure if you know him.
No, I don't know him. Never heard of him. But thank you.
So beginning of the year, we set out a diary of everything, all the festivals and things like that. You know, local seasonal things, and we plan a year in advance and buy in whatever we're doing. We might be doing some fairs or fates, which have unfortunately been cancelled this year. We'll get prizes, and we have like a what's it called? The higher or lower prices right.
Play your cards right.
Play your cards right. That's it. We have a thing like that. We play at the local fair, so it's just higher or lower, and everyone wins a gift basically. But if you get to the end, you win a better gift. So we do all things like that. But yeah, everything's scheduled, and we know where unless you know a Corona comes in and ruins it all, we know where we are with everything. But it's just about being organised, because again, if we decide to do something for Halloween today, it's not enough time. We need to get it sorted 2-3 months in advance. So yeah, that's what we do, get it organised in advance.
So I think Luke Sinclair's ears were burning, so you need to say again what you said earlier, because I'm not sure Luke heard it first time round.
I just mentioned, obviously, we ripped off Luke's idea for Love M44 from Love OB, so thanks for letting me rip it off. Luke, I did ask you, so didn't just rip it off. I mean, there's a few people that have been inspirational to me in my estate agent's career. Obviously, Stephen Brown, a massive influence, Luke Sinclair, Sean Adams, Josh Vegan, obviously my brother, Josh, from a mother from another mother. But yeah, Luke's helped me and given me so much advice and tips along the way, and along with people like yourself, Stephen, teaching me how to prospect and get our fees up and know what we're worth. we are where we are. So thank you to everyone that I've mentioned there. And Andy Davis,
Right,
people.
you can come again now. Thank you.
It's okay. No.
So something else that you are excellent on is videos. I know you got your own vlogs, and I think you do vlogs for estate agents as well, and we'll come on to that in a bit. The power of videos again. What made you decide to get involved and do them? I also know that you do exceptional market wraps, letting everybody know what's going on in the market, which is absolutely fantastic. How have you found that's helped your business as well?
Well, again, this will touch upon one of the things I talk about at work called the sphere of influence, which is basically the things that I can influence in my area. And basically, I think the hardest thing is getting your personality now. Obviously, it won't suit everyone video, but as somebody, I'd say about myself, I'm quite bubbly and outgoing in certain crowds. As long as it's after 2 o'clock, Stephen.
I thought it was 3 o'clock actually.
There's certain things I can affect. So if people get to know me, they're more likely to use me as an estate agent, and trust. It's building that trust and rapport up. So I decided when we opened up the office, I had a load of content written by Jerry Lyons, and I was, the first person of his that turned it into video. So instead of putting blogs out, I put vlogs out, and I recorded the load in advance, so they were all done. They were a lot shoddier than they are now. They're more professionally edited now, and we do things on green screen and stuff like that. I didn't even have a microphone. I just had a phone and just put it out. I think we've done probably 2,000 videos now. Certainly, they've been watched hundreds of thousands of times, in total. But the sphere of influence is basically getting my personality out there, showing people I care. Obviously, that helps with word of mouth, dealing with other businesses so they can spread it around social media and doing things like billboards and things like that. So it's attacking it from all areas. And that's what I call the sphere of influence, is basically the things I can affect and have an ability to affect. And that's what video does for people. It gets all those things out there.
And what sort of videos are you finding work better than most?
Well, I mean, the short, sharp ones of just showing people around the house. They're the easiest ones to do, and they get the most views. I did we do it on every property. So I think I did one 2 days ago. It's had 2,500 views. We average about 1,500 views doing it in about 48 hours on our property tours, and we do the more professional stuff, and we do the Matterport and everything like that I've mentioned. But just grabbing your phone and going live, you don't even have to be on it. If you don't want, just press live and walk around and talk through you like you're writing a description. It's not rocket science. It takes 2 minutes and it's done. There's no editing. It's done, and they're the simplest things people need to do. I know a lot of people are doing it more and more since COVID, but we've been doing it for well before COVID, and it just helps, and people like them. The market wraps, obviously, we get between 5,000 and 10,000 views on them. We do them every month. We just take the stats from Rightmove. It's very easy to find the stats. Feel free to PM me, anyone, if you're struggling.
Thank you for that. I think David Mintz says he loves Simply Lovely group. He said that's the best group that's out there. Chris Watkins says, sounding awesome, Oliver. Okay, and they're all talking. Yeah, so that's great. So yeah, keep going. So market wraps, great.
Yeah, we do them, and then obviously I do weekly content on video. Usually Thursday or Friday night, I'll put a video out of just general helps or tips. That could be anything from preparing your garden to preparing your house for sale to preparing for photos. It doesn't always have to be about preparing, but there's hundreds of videos I've done, and we put them out once a week. It's consistency. Doing a video once is going to get you a bit of insight. People are going to get a little bit of insight into you, but it's just doing that continually. Someone might not be looking to move for a year, and if they see a video every week for a year, you're going to be at the forefront of their head when they come to get evaluation. Whereas if you've just done one video or one every 4 months, it's good and it's great and it's a good starting point, but it's about consistency. And it's not even about the message sometimes, it's just about people seeing your face. It's just brand awareness probably. And along the line, people get to know you and see what sort of guy you are, or girl, obviously.
Okay, so again, if people are watching this and they're really fearful of just getting started and doing video, what tips can you give them?
Well, I mean, as I mentioned a minute ago, the simplest thing to do would just be to do, you don't even have to do it live, just press record on a video. If you're scared of being on it, then don't. You know, it's just a starting point. You know, like I said, my first videos were shocking in comparison to what I do now. But it still got me to where I am, which is market leader after 2 3/4 years. You know, that's very important. So if you want to start, just press record, walk around with a phone, talk. We can all talk. You just pretend you're on a phone, or have a property brochure and read off it as you're walking around. That would be the simplest thing to do. Apart from that, if you are happy to get in front of the camera, just do a 30-second personal video, just introducing myself to the area, and just want you to know, obviously it's a really difficult time at the moment with COVID and everything like that. If anyone's got any questions, just want you to say, you can message me personally on Facebook anytime, 24 hours a day, always happy to help, or give us a call, drop your numbers in, here's my email address, and that's it. That's the first video, 30 seconds. And have it written on a piece of paper if you want, if you're worried that you're going to go off plan, but a natural is easier. We're all estate agents, we should all be able to talk. So that's what we do for a business. So yeah, that's the first thing to do. Do one of them too. And be held accountable. Tell someone that you're going to be doing it so they can hold you accountable. I know Stephen will hold you accountable because he holds me accountable for a lot of stuff as well. So.
Definitely, thank you. So Sarah, consistently adding value, such great advice. Luke Sinclair says, who's Gary V? When you've got Oliver James on there. Neil Giller, top tips be you. David Mintz, proof that you don't need hair to be successful. He does make me laugh. Another video that I enjoyed you doing was about telling your community about your hot buyers.
Yeah.
And I love that. Did you have success with that?
We did. I did try and get other staff members involved to do that, but again, as COVID's come in, that's something we've phased out a little bit with other members, and I've sort of taken the ball by hand and doing things. But yeah, a great idea. Again, we all register people, so there's a couple of things you can do, one with video and one without, if you're scared of video. And again, you're welcome to copy this. You've got my permission to do so. You see a few agents doing it now. You register a buyer, a hot buyer, or whatever you want to do. Just post it on your page with a bit of colour background or one of those fancy backgrounds that Facebook lets you do on a post from your phone, and just go hot buyer alert. Does your house match? 3-bed, semi-needed in this area, 200,000. PM if your house matches. So yes, we do get people ringing us and saying, I'm thinking of selling in 3 months. Would this buyer match me? And we do a one-off viewings, and we could potentially sell it off market. We sell a lot of houses off market. Or alternative, we get people that contact us and say, well, my house is on with another agent. Will this buyer match? The likelihood is they won't, because they've probably seen the house on, but we're then in contact with that person and can start looking after them. And speaking to them and giving them updates about what we're doing with the houses. So it's just we're very process driven. It's getting a very fluid process. I must mention my staff, who are incredible. You know, it's very, very important that they're all on the same page. They're all committed. They all care. And this goes back to probably our first conversation 30 minutes ago about treating staff how you want to be treated. I try and look after my staff. I try and treat them well. And I do see the benefit of that is that they care, and they'll do extra, and they'll send WhatsApp messages on an evening if something's happened, or they'll respond to a Facebook message in an evening, or you know, they'll go that extra mile because they want to care. They want to get an extra £500 for our client, or they think or they know we're worth a minimum of 1.5% plus VAT. They know that, and that does help. The team's very important. So much love to all my team if any of them are watching.
Well, I'll tell you who's watching. Caroline's watching, so thank you for joining us. Ali's watching, thank you for joining us. Chris Watkin is watching, thank you for joining us. Ashley Lowe is watching, thank you for thank you for watching. So Chris Watkins says consistently consistent. Again, Chris, thank you for your offer. It's helped many agents get over the fear of video. Happy for anyone to call me and help them. Chris, thank you for your kind offer. Ashley, thanks, Oliver. I'm going to start to do more videos. I did a few during lockdown that created really good interest, but it's a consistency that I've never kept up. So I will make sure I start next week.
Follow me, and
Ashley, next week. What's wrong with this afternoon? Why wait? Okay, let's get it done. Okay, Mr. White, thanks very much for joining us. A committed, caring team is a sign of awesome top block leadership. The reverse also applies. So let's talk about your team and creating that culture. So how have you done that?
Well, first of all, talking to them and treating them with respect. You know, I'm there for them. We have a lot of fun in the office. It's a nice place to work. You know, I want someone to come in and want to come into work, not want. You know, both my staff didn't want to work from home. You know, one of them's talking now of how she's dreading lockdown if we get a lockdown, because can she still come into the office? You know, it's creating a nice place. We don't have. We've got one of these modern style offices, which is like a lounge, so they both sit on couches. They've got laptops. You know, I went through a stage of providing food and snacks for them and stuff like that. You know, if they need the time off, then, you know, they can have it. If something personal comes up, then again, treat people how you expect to be treated. One of my members of staff have got kids. Something happens with the children, they've got to do it. Yeah, I'd expect the same for myself. But, you know, it's a fun place to work. I'm not strict. They know the process. They know how I want things done, how things need to be done. Sometimes people stray. We're all human, but we'll sit down and discuss it and sort it out. You know, it's dealing with things. So, you know, and it's being good people. At the end of the day, we do a lot of good. And it's knowing that you're contributing to that good. You know, you're helping people on a journey. I don't actually call us estate agents. I call us matchmakers, because that's what we're doing when we're matching buyers with sellers. And it's like Tinder for estate agents. We're just trying to find the best partner for your house, and it's just a different mindset. You know, we just get on with everyone. We're friendly, and that's how you need to be happy in your work. It's as simple and straightforward as that. You want to come into work. You don't want to be avoiding work.
Brilliant. You know, I think Ashley's already come up with an excuse. He's in Rhodes. What an excuse that is. Sure, you can do a video whilst you're in Rhodes, talking about what's happening in the Moseley or Bourneville property market, Ashley. We want solutions, not excuses on here, don't we, Oliver?
Like Tom Panis would say, leave your excuses at the door.
Exactly, Ashley. So post of a video in the next half an hour. Okay.
So go and find a local estate agent in Rhodes and take a video from outside the windows and saying, look at these window displays and look how they show it. And just to show you what we do in the area, we make it really inviting. We have a modern interior, and people want to come in, you know, and just talk about yourself and do something like that. Compare.
Okay, so a couple of things you spoke about. The vlogs, are you still doing that for estate agents? Yeah. So it was just a knock-on effect. Obviously, we do a lot of content on video for people. So we naturally got asked by peers in the industry, would you do videos for ourselves? I've since been asked by other businesses to do it, but I've decided not to go that way yet. A chemist asked me on LinkedIn if I could do some for him, but so we do weekly videos for estate agents. So again, this is something we looked to forward, I looked forward in lockdown. So I recorded about 200 videos ready done. And they're all branded to people's estate agency, and they're all done on a green screen, so we can put your office in the background or the inside of your office or a local landmark. So it makes it look like I'm a member of your staff. So so that's something we're doing weekly. So every Thursday, a video appears in their special Dropbox link that they've got, and they just post it to their database, put it on their social media, and it's all branded. Some people have even got me on their team page. So, you know,
whatever I can do to help, and we try and make it as viable financially as possible. We don't consider it expensive at £25 a video, something like that. We also do free animated videos. So far I've given about 50 animated videos free as well. We're always doing things like that.
How do they get hold of you, Oliver James, if they want to know more?
Find me on Facebook anywhere you want. Stick in Oliver James. Go and find me. There's a few pages there. It's not hard, and I'll be happy to help. Even if you're another estate agent, want some tips and advice, get in touch. It's no problem at all. Here to help.
You're a gentleman. There you go. You've got a massive fan. Another massive fan, Ian White. Can I have a job, please? This chap is a proper leader. Haven't met him, but like his leadership methodology. Wants to know when he can come and do some work with you.
Anytime. I think we're Facebook friends, so anytime, Ian, of course. You just got to, listen, we're always improving. You've got to be open to changing, always equals always improving, at the end of the day. So, the next big idea is just around the corner. We're just got to wait for it and find it, and implement.
Okay. Have you asked Luke yet?
We don't nick all his ideas. I nicked an idea a few weeks ago from Novak Properties in Australia. I know quite a few people are following her now, but she has a mat she puts out on viewings, and we've altered that idea. So we have a mat we put out on the front of all viewings now, which is a big mat, and it says, "Is this the one?" with Oliver James, estate agent. So it's just creating impressions as we go along. It's all these touch points. We don't really send videos. We don't really send emails. We send video emails through BombBomb as well. So it's just little touch points, and making it all memorable along the way.
Fantastic, love that. So Stephen Mayers, I love to see your free animated videos. Michael Izzy, thanks for joining us from Scotland. It's very kind of you. When I ask you a couple of final questions before we go, because I'm very grateful of your time and for everybody watching. You talked earlier about achieving 1.5%.
Yeah.
What are your competition charging out of interest?
Well, my competition both work on set fees. One's £1,000 all in, and the other one is £1,200 all in, including that when I say all in. So yeah, my minimum. I only charge 1.5% plus VAT, full stop, unless it's a minimum fee, which would then equate to more than 1.5%. I'm not trying to cheat. So yeah, we're 1.5% plus VAT. Our average fee is probably £2,700 plus VAT. Okay. And my competition have both been there for 20, 30, 40 years. Both charge about £1,000. So.
Okay. So that's really interesting for me. On average, you're charging £1,600 more than your competition, which is excellent, which demonstrates that you can do that if you're providing value. And
you said the right word there, demonstrate. I've got to demonstrate that I'm worth 1.5%. If I don't demonstrate it, I mean, that's not everyone. Not everyone's going to be my client, and I got to accept that. But I'd rather sell 50 houses at 1.5% than 100 houses at 0.75%. So it's the logic. But it's just, if there's no differential, if I don't do my job right on the valuation, explain what I do differently, then people are going to go with the cheapest. There's obviously always going to be that element of people that go, I'm not paying 1.5%. My house is 400 grand, and I can get it for £1,000, because that's what they do. It's £1,000 whether the house is 100 grand or 500 grand. And you'd think they'd be harder, but they're actually easier, because you've got to demonstrate that you're worth that money.
So what do you do? I mean, what do you do to demonstrate that you are worth that? But there was one thing I picked up on earlier that I loved what you said about your team, that they will negotiate every last single penny for that vendor to get them more money. And, that's obviously one way of demonstrating your negotiating skills.
There's a couple of different things there. First of all, how it starts before the moment of contact with the social media and word of mouth and what I sort of describe as a sphere of influence. So people know prior to me even coming, but again, we have the process in place. It just starts from the welcome pack. I know some of your clients do welcome packs. I know people like Andy Overman, Luke Sinclair do welcome packs. You know, we do review booklets, and we give a nice pen and pad and for them to make notes. So it starts there. So it's creating that first great impression, and having those touch points along the way. I mean, a question I ask at every valuation: when you bought this house, would you have paid another £500 for it? I say 500 because some people have lived 30, 40 years, you know, in a house, so they could have paid £2,000 for the house. And 90% of the people go, yeah, I would have paid an extra £500,000, £2,000 for this house. And then my reaction to that is, well, in that case, the negotiator could have got more from you. The estate agent let the seller down last time. And that's what I do. And that's what I bring to the table. And I'll have a list. We do a list every week of last 5 completions. And I'll run through those last 5 completions because I don't want to bore them to death, of what we've achieved. And generally, they'll all be over asking price or near asking price, or there'll be an odd amount. I have a lot that have sold for £200,127. Well, how did you get to that figure? Well, I pushed the extra £2 because it's better in my client's pocket.
100%. I love that question. There you go. Paul Rolfe, great question, Ollie. Absolute gold. Love it. Charlotte, thanks very much for watching. Congratulations on your awards. So well done. That's brilliant. Okay, love that. Simple question, and easy demonstrating it. Okay. What other touch points have you got? One more piece of gold from Josh Vegan, please.
Touch points we have, again, because I'm a video person, we send videos out via text along different points. So we send a pre-valuation video just explaining our process, just in case people are not wanting me in the house for a long period of time, or they're you know, it just gives me an opportunity to explain things with a visual as well. So we'll show people that we achieve the highest prices in the area with selling more houses. Once I've done the valuation, I'll send them another video saying thanks for having me around. I loved your kitchen with the granite work surfaces. Really loved meeting your dog Pepe or whatever, something like that. We'll touch upon some names, and we send these little videos as we go through the whole process. There's things like that. There's dozens of things like that we do. Things like that.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Paul Rolfe. I've been on the phone and missed most of this. How can we say that? But that one question has just changed my valuation process questions. Thanks, Ollie.
It's all right, Paul. At the end of the phone, you've got my number anytime.
Lovely, brilliant. Look, Oliver, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing everything that you've done. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you everybody for watching as well, whether you're watching now or whether you're watching on replay. Next week I am joined on Tuesday by Kevin Scrupps, who is at Highgate and Crone in the East Midlands, and that should be interesting. They are selling loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of property. And on Thursday I'm going to be joined by Claire Kendall from Richard Kendall up in Wakefield and that area. So please join then. Please like it, share it, get the message out there, get your colleagues to come onto the Facebook page as well. The YouTube channel, please subscribe. On Instagram as well. These are going on as well. I'm getting good. Everybody's teaching me. Can you believe Stephen Brown, Mr. Tech, puts it on LinkedIn, IGTV and YouTube? What is going on? So thank you so much, Oliver. Thank you all. Have a really good, productive Thursday and a lovely weekend, everybody. Great half term, and get those pumpkins out there, have some fun, get people having loads of fresh air. Brilliant idea. Oliver James, Josh Vegan, you're a superstar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.